On paper, Poland's second largest city might seem like a bovine with substance abuse issues, but it's Kraków, not Krakow. Let's check out the stadiums and arenas of Kraków, Poland. Stadion Krakowi im Józefa Piłsudskiego. Cracovia were founded in 1906, making it the oldest Polish football club still in existence. There has been a football field on this site since 1912, nearly as long as the club has been around. But the actual stadium was entirely demolished in the late 2000s to make way for this one. One aspect to the new stadium that I quite like is that there is one distinct main stand. It's the one to the south that is the only double-tiered stand, and thus rises above the rest. Oh, and by the way, this is how the stadium looked before the rebuild. Not bad, but not really befitting of a top-tier club. Oddly enough, that's the same reason that this club here have moved in temporarily. They were promoted, and their stadium, which is in a nearby town, didn't meet extra class requirements. Not surprising. Stadion Sportowe KS Wanda is also known as Kraków Speedway Stadium, a more descriptive title as it's a speedway stadium in Kraków. Speedway is very popular in Poland. However, the stadium went a long time without hosting speedway, just football. The condition of the stadium deteriorated significantly during that time. Thankfully, that's no longer the case. Not only does it host speedway, but it has since been renovated bit by bit, and finally became an all-seater stadium 7 years ago. Speaking of the seats, they were actually specifically designed to support the typical posture of a Polish person. They call it the pole position. Stadion Miejski im Henryka Reimana. I remember from previous videos we've done on Poland that Miejski means municipal, whereas in Australia, where I'm from, Miejski is one of these things. This is just a stone's throw from Stadion Krakowi. It too was completely rebuilt, however it was a more gradual process that started in 2004 and ended in the early 2010s, which might be why it's slightly more characterful than Stadion Krakowi. Actually, that doesn't really make sense because it's still an entirely new stadium. Anyway, I like that even though all of the stands are connected, the roofs are not. That seems counterintuitive, but they still shelter basically all the spectators, but it just looks a bit better than a wraparound roof. Despite being twice the size of its counterpart, it's currently home to a second-tier club. Stadion Suchestawa. This place hosts third-tier football, and it certainly looks that way. Although in the mid-90s, Hutny Kraków finished third in Poland's top tier. So they've declined significantly as the country itself has progressed significantly. The seating is almost entirely uncovered and about half of it is bench seating. There's also an ugly dirt track surrounding the field, so not a whole lot of positives to talk about. However, I think the nice and leafy surrounds make up for the lackluster amenities. Slightly. The ground itself is actually situated just outside the walls of a monastery that was built in the 13th century. Are you going to show it? Oh, there you are. Tauron Arena. Tauron is an energy company. For some reason, there are so many arenas that are named after energy companies. I guess I can understand why. This arena has a very distinctive exterior that is curvaceous in shape, metallic in nature, and when illuminated at night, it's a beautiful sight. Same goes for the interior, which is full of all the amenities you'd expect from a major city's showpiece arena, including a top-notch center-hung video board. It is a jack-of-all-trades arena that doesn't have any permanent sporting tenants, but it hosts a bit of handball, a bit of volleyball, and plenty of concerts. This shot here was actually taken before a Björk concert.
And if you complain once more, you meet an army of me, army of me.
Since I've already talked about Australia Land, I'd just like to mention that this here is called Kosciuszko Mound. It's named after Tadeusz Kościuszko, a Polish hero who also has the largest mountain in mainland Australia named after him. Although we pronounce it Kosciuszko because Polish am difficult, as you can probably tell by my pronunciation so far. Stadium of Kraków. Okay, I am doubtful that this one could seat more than 2,000 or 3,000 people, but it's an interesting little ground, so I thought it was worth including. The seating here is comprised entirely of uncovered concrete benches, but rather than looking drab as you might expect, it's actually kind of pretty. That's partially due to the hedges in between the stands and the field, but even more beautiful is the stone clock tower beyond the eastern end of the ground. Not enough stadiums have their own stone clock tower, I've always said that. And those were the stadiums and arenas and commemorative mounds of Kraków. Thanks for watching, have a good one.